Genndy, why don't you go ahead and tell us about the your movie? Was it Hotel Transylvania?
Yeah. So Hotel Transylvania is a new animated feature comedy, and it's about Dracula and his daughter. The all the monsters live in our world, but they're hidden in the shadows. And he builds this great hotel that's hidden away from humanity, that they can all come out and be monsters themselves. And the true story is about Dracula and his daughter. Like every teenager, she's turning 118, and she wants to kind of see the world for herself. And as the story unfolds, how does Dracula kind of deal with it?
Now, what actually attracted you to a project like this?
I think for me, it was getting a chance to kind of do Dracula new, do Dracula for our generation, because vampires stories have changed so much through the days that it's been nice. It felt nice to do a comedic take on Dracula that's very respectful of the past, but still feels kind of new.
Now, obviously, this is a children's animation. Children today are not really very familiar with the concept of the old vampires or Frankenstein or mummies. How are you going to try to introduce that?
I think, I think we believe that kids are kind of aware of the bigger icons. They know the mummy, is Egyptian or something that simple, and then Dracula, definitely has powers, and he's got a black cape and a cowl and stuff, and so we went to those. We stayed true to those basic concepts, but then everything else about them is very contemporary and modern. The way they talk, the way they act, they're very conversational, and they feel like they're part of your family. They're the uncles and the brothers and the sisters that are part of your family. So we felt that would be the contemporary take on them.
Now, I also noticed through the clips and the trailers that you had your voice actors using the interesting accents that reflects much more of the older type of monster movies, right?
Yeah.
Especially with Adam Sandler with the Dracula accent.
Yeah, you wanted Dracula to be, the thing is, we didn't do as much of the Bela Lugosi type of Dracula. We kind of did Dracula's from Transylvania area, so he's kind of Eastern European. So Adam did this really just kind of funny, more Eastern Europeanish accent rather than the blah blah, the full-on Bela Lugosi type. So I think it was fun. And it made it feel, you want to be sincere, and I think it's what Adam was really comfortable doing, and it sounded really funny. And it's the way we did the animation supported it in a really good way.
Did everybody else also had to do similar, or they just went with the regular voices?
No, I think Kevin James' Frankenstein was just a normal guy from Chicago or whatever, and CeeLo Green, who's the Murray, is just CeeLo's voice, and yeah, I think they're the only ones who did a voice, and John Lovitz, who did Quasimodo, he did do a French accent.
Okay, and Selena Gomez has an American teenage.
And Selena's just American teen. Yeah. She's grown up outside of the Eastern Bloc.
Now, there are other competing animated films coming up, like Paranorman or Frankenweenie, which tends to be a little bit darker. Now, you're taking a little bit different tact with this film.
Yeah, absolutely. We made a conscious choice right from the beginning of the movie that we're making a funny movie with monsters rather than making a kid-scary animated movie. And so we really don't have any scares in our movie, and it's really just a big, broad, fun comedy that's very kind of, bright.
Now, obviously, with this movie, are the adults going to relate pretty well with this movie, or is it more towards the adults or more towards the kids?
I think it's for both. I think, the adults, we've done a couple of test screenings, and the adults have really enjoyed it. I think there's a very accessible, relatable father-daughter story, that's there. And it's just a really fun movie. I think it doesn't take itself too seriously. At the same time, has a strong emotional foundation underneath it. So it's just kind of fun. It's got some good laughs, and it's energetic, and it moves along really nice. And I think it's good for adults and for kids.
Yeah, I did notice some people were describing it as a horror animation, but when I actually saw some of the clips or the trailers, then I was going, is this a romantic comedy?
Yeah, it's definitely not horror animation. It's definitely it's a romantic comedy with a father story that's really strong too. The romance of it's kind of secondary in the movie. But yeah, it's definitely not horror at all. I've got a 4, 8, and 10, and they easily can all go see it.
Oh, okay. Now, I also understand that when you were doing the having all the different actors do the voice acting, you didn't really put them in a separate room and just read it off a script. You actually had them all come in and do the voice acting all at the same time?
Yeah, that was really important for me because I came from TV, and so in television we have most of the actors in the booth, at the same time. And the advantage of that is that everybody gets to feed off of each other, and really there's a great energy and chemistry. And I felt like in features that there's a lack of that, and so I really wanted to do that. Especially you get all these great comedians, So for the first couple of recordings, we were able to get Kevin James, David Spade, Adam Sandler, Andy Samberg all in the same room, and the energy that they created, kind of feeding off each other, was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And do you actually, since this is your first animated film, do you enjoy doing film over TV now? Since you finally experienced it?
It's been, I've been really fortunate in television. I've been able to do my own shows, so I enjoyed that tremendously. But features, the pressure of it is fun. The stage is so much bigger that it's, I'm very competitive and, I like a good challenge. So the challenge of it was very exciting to make a movie and for the mass. Because that's the thing, is like I don't want to make a movie for a basement of people. I want it to be as mainstream as possible, and it was really fun doing it that way,
And would you ever consider doing a live action movie?
I would, I worked on Iron Man 2 for a little while, even though that's almost like animated. I would consider it, but for sure, I've turned down a few offers. I love animation, and until I feel like I've gotten a few movies out and a few stories that I have to tell out, I'll probably stick to it.
Okay, and just one last question. Can you say anything about a Samurai Jack movie or anything about the Popeye movie that you're...
Yeah, so I just signed on to do 2 movies with Sony, and Popeye being one of them, and an original idea with one, so we're just kind of getting into that, and I'm excited for that. And then Samurai Jack, it's been around, and it's still kind of around, which is really great. But I just haven't found the right way to sell it, I guess. We've tried 3 different times with different producers, and but I feel like it'll happen. I just don't know when, but I feel like there's enough momentum now that maybe it'll happen.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.